our Facebook.
Close that door. What am I like? Can you move that frame, please? It's in the shot. I hang it on the computer. That's all right. It's all right.
Evelyn posted in Crush.
All right, welcome to Crush Wednesday. I think I'm live, and welcome to Crush Wednesday. I've got a very special guest with me today. This is usually done at 9:29, but you know what? It's not 9:29. It's 9:29 somewhere in the world. That's okay. It's 1:29, and every Wednesday we come live on our Crush group, Crush Your Fitness Marketing. If you're not a member yet, well, you got to get a member, and all you have to do is go into our Facebook group and type in Crush Your Fitness Marketing, and we do this 9:29 every week. But this year I said I wanted to bring more amazing clients to you to share their stories of what they've been through in their journey. And today I have my very first special guest, Helen. How are you, Helen?
I'm fantastic, Richard. How are you?
Helen, I've never actually pronounced your last name. How do you say it? Because I've never
Try it first, Richard.
Helen Uskovic?
Helen Uskovic.
So Helen Uskovic and Helen, I think we've known each other from Com for how long do you think? Maybe a year, would you say?
Yep, I would say our relationship is about 1 year's worth.
Oh, it sounds very formal here. So I wanted to share with you Helen. So Helen's one of our ninjas at Com Marketing, and again, this is one of our signature programs at Com. And I wanted to bring Helen on to the Crush Your Fitness Marketing show to talk about your journey, because you've got a really cool journey, and it all starts. And if you are watching us live, comment for me at the moment. But I'm going to get straight into it, and comment as you go if you want me to ask Helen any questions. I'll get my comments on my phone here, and that would be great. So Helen, why don't we go a bit of a backstory about what you're about and what you've done throughout your journey of where you're getting to now. And your business at the moment is called Whole Health, but there's a bit of a journey before that. So tell me where you started in this. I mean, I think you're in the business of, you said before, impacting people or really helping people. Yeah. So tell me about your journey.
So now at the ripe old age of 35, I've realized that my whole mission is to just help people end suffering, bring more energy to people's lives, and just bring more joy. Yep. I've had a pretty funny history. What's that saying? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Jack of all trades, master of none. I don't know if you're a master of none.
I feel like I'm the master of all trades and the jack of none. Because when I first finished high school, I didn't know that I wanted to be a PT. So I only started my PT journey a couple years ago. After high school, I was doing real estate. I didn't like real estate. After I did real estate, I went to music school. After music school, I was working in an office for a big concrete company. I hated that. I became a makeup artist with Napoleon. I then became a beauty therapist, ran a beauty therapist salon, and I loved that. And then after a while, I got tired because I wasn't, making that much money. And I was like, I'm helping people feel good, but something's missing. I wasn't ending their suffering. So I didn't know that at that point. After that, I became an MC/DJ, and I was hosting events around Australia. So I had this really cool job. I quit everything. I sold up my business. And for 9 years, I focused on acting and I focused on MCing. So I did go to Hollywood. I did
you did go to Hollywood, yeah?
I did. I went with my agent. We ran the short film festival circuits all around America. And we won about 5 of those. So that was my little fame moment.
You did go to Hollywood. You're in there acting too.
Yeah, I love acting. I love being able to tell someone's story and doing that justice. And I love theatre shows and all of that sort of stuff. I did see a side of Hollywood that I didn't like, and I ran back to Australia as fast as I could. And then I went and got a normal job, and I started doing sales in a car dealership. I started putting on weight, and I wasn't happy because I wasn't fulfilling my mission, which I still didn't know at that time.
Tell me about your car dealership story, because I remember a while ago you telling about the little story about how you sales progress, because I think everybody's done sales somewhere along their path. Tell me about your little car story.
So car sales, how that started was I came back to Australia and I had no job. So I contacted a friend who was working in a dealership and I said, I need a job. And I had done sales with him previously. When I was 17, I was selling car tires. Wow. And he said, you're a great salesperson. I can get you a job tomorrow. So I went in for an interview the next day to do aftermarket sales, which is that girl that sells you the paint protection and the leather protection.
Oh, so you just buy a car and they go to you, and then you're basically saying, you know what, if you don't get my protection, your car's going to be like destroyed, yeah?
Yes. So this is the best thing to do if you're bad at sales, because it will teach you how to really grow your business. Because you have to deal with so much rejection, so much judgment. My first month, I made that company $90,000 worth of paint protection and leather protection.
Yeah.
After that, I was not happy. We were making money, but I wasn't happy. Something was missing. I put on weight. I didn't like that. So I went and joined something called F45. And I'd go there before work or after work, which was near the dealership. They told me I would be a great trainer. And that's all I needed. I then went to PT school at 33, Richard. I went back to study at 33. And so I did that. That was a big risk.
So you felt that was the calling there, because it was like that mission that you always had to make people happier. Yeah.
Well, they said that, you know, Helen, every time you're here, you pump people up and everyone's excited to train and you're a member. And then I was like, you know, I've done emceeing for so long. I'm really comfortable in front of people and pumping them up.
You know how to get the energy going.
Yeah. So I was like, that's all I needed. That was like, that's it, Richard.
And so now, so you came to an event, a New Age online marketing event, and you came to the event and you came and you're running, you're at F45, I still believe there, and you're running a business called, what was it called at that time?
Hit This.
This.
I was doing lots of HIT training. Yep. And I loved HIT training because the results were so good. Yeah. And I wasn't as educated as I was now, but I then created this business called Hit This. And then I I went from earning nearly 100 grand a year to 20.
Wow. Like so that was a big change, big shift.
Yep. It was a huge shift. And I was like, okay, Helen, we've got some work to do. So I started running my business, not knowing what I was doing because I had never been a PT before. And I say this all the time, but it was just like magic. I was scrolling through Facebook and then comp marketing appears. And I had seen this a few times. And for some reason that day I was like, you know what? I've got to go to this free event. And then that's it, Richard. The Com Love Affair began.
The Com Love Affair began. And so you initially called Hit This. And this is what and for those who are joining us now, let me just read out who's joining us. Darren, good to have you here. Roy, Matthew, Kevin, Tracy, there's a few others. Josie, good to have you here. If you are watching, comment, please, so I know that you're there, because we're not friends on Facebook, but sometimes it doesn't come up. So just comment and say hello if you are watching. And at the moment, I've got Helen. Helen's one of our clients. She's been with, we're up to the Com Love Affair at the moment. She's been with the Com about a year. And she was just telling a story. And what I love about your story so far is that you've gone through a journey and you've continually stayed on course. You've stayed on course to figure out, I want to make people happy and avoid their suffering, that you call it. And you've consistently, you know, gone through the journey to ensure that's always what you wanted to do. And, you know, when you were in the car dealership and you were selling the after protection paint to the people who have just paid thousands for the new car, you did feel that fulfilling. And that's a great, you know, it's a great story, because it, to me, and I think in this industry, everybody's watching. Tracy, hello. Joey, Joe, hello. And it tells people that you've got to follow your dreams. And you followed your dream and you went from 100K to 20K. Now that's where we're at the moment. And so then the other concept is, well, how do I follow my dream and make money? And so let's talk about that now, because you're saying new career at 35, but at the end of the day, like, I'm assuming that, well, I've only known you for the last year, but every time you're like infectious, like every time you talk to you is like so happy and so joyous. Yeah. And I think in the world that we live in today, for some reason, there's just so much stress, and it shouldn't be the case because we live in the most luckiest country in the world. Mm-hmm. And, most of the world don't have fresh water. And so we have so much things we can have, and you bring out the goodness in people. And so you've gone from hit this, and I remember sitting down you initially, and you were talking about that you did I mean, you've only scratched the surface of what you do, girl, by the way. You do massage, you do all these different sub-services as well to fitness. Yeah. And I said to you, I don't think that hit this is really what you're trying to get to. And so so you've got a new name. And so talk about your name change over the last, I think, 6 months, 7 months, or 8 months kind of thing. You've transformed into a whole new being of a person.
Yep, I really have. Because I didn't realize what I was doing was holistic. So I remember when you said, hit this isn't really what you do. I knew that, but I didn't know what to do about it. So thank you. And then when we were in the class one day, and you were talking, and then just one day the word whole health came to me, and I'm like, oh my God. And while you were talking, I was registering my new business name to see if whole health was available, and it was. And I was like, oh my God. So that's how I became whole health, because I do believe in a whole system of, massage, recovery, wellness, mindset, exercise, fitness, and all of that sort of stuff. So it fit so much better. And then you guys helped me with rebranding everything, because everything I had was so messy. Everything I had was so messy. My Instagram, my socials, my bookkeeping, my finances, my clients, everything was just everywhere. I was working 60 hours a week, or sometimes, a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. I was tired.
And so now, you just told me a bit of a figure before. I don't know if you want to share that, but basically you said you're on 100, you went to 20. You've transformed a lot around, and now you've gone from, and I want to share a story, you've gone from personal training.
Yep.
Now we transformed you to groups. And this is where a lot of, at the moment, we're talking to a lot of clients at the moment in this exact same situation. So you went from personal training one-on-one to more running groups.
Yep.
How do you do the transition? I'm interested to go, did you have to tell your PT clients, hey, get lost? How do you actually do that transition?
So don't tell anyone to get lost.
Okay.
So the first thing I did was I started the rebranding process. So people knew that a change was coming.
Yes.
And so I had started talking to my clients individually as I was training them, because I didn't want to lose them. I wanted to transfer them to the small group training. And I thought, how am I going to do this? Got to be honest. So I spoke to each and every client, and I said, I'm thinking of doing small group training soon, where you guys will all be training in a small group. I'm capping the number to keep it personal. And I had a lot of resistance from everyone. And they were like, no, I don't want that. I want to train with you. I don't care about the price. I just want to train with you. And I had a lot of resistance. So I then did, we kept coming into your classes, and I created the secret Facebook group so that I could get clients, interacting with each other. And then what I did was I created a little challenge. I do like an alkaline cleanse challenge.
Yes.
And so I did that, and everyone that joined was my clients. And so I made sure that everyone had to write on that every day what their foods were. So people were seeing who each other was. And then when we were at the gym, I would introduce them. And then it became a smooth transition. I got the new booking system. And then it started. And then I think I gave them about 4 weeks of warning.
Oh, great. And so the transition, then you went from one-on-ones to, what's the size of your groups at the moment, Helen?
So I keep my groups capped at about 6 people each time.
Okay. And so basically, what did you used to charge in personal training, and what are you charging now for groups?
So I back then was charging $80 an hour for personal training. And now what I do is I charge $99 for 3 sessions with me. So another way I sold it was you can have 1 session a week with me for $80, or you can have 3 for $99.
Wow, it's kind of like when you look at it that way, it's a lot of advantages to a client that way.
Yep. So I made the personal training, I upped that to $100 now, and so that I could get people to move more towards the small group training. So, you know, it's a bit more economic, it's more fun because there's more people, and yeah, you get to do more sessions like a week.
So this is great. And so I might ask you some figures on how many clients you have now and things like that. But from what I'm hearing, that you're now in a position that, you know, over this whole transformation of your brand and that kind of stuff, you're sort of bypassed your original wage. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. So I was also, can I add, working 60 hours a week, and now.
Oh yeah, let's work 60 hours a week. And how many hours are you averaging now?
So my small groups come to about 15 hours a week.
15 hours a week. And how many, are you still doing any PTs at all?
Yeah, I do some. So maximum I work could be like 20, 22 hours a week, which gives me more time to do the things that I also love doing, blogging and stuff.
Great. And so now you're not pushing the PTs, but it's the groups that's that scalability approach for you.
Yeah, 100%. So
you've gone from 60 hours to working like under 30.
Yeah, and I shit myself when I did that, because I was like, how am I going to make this work? But then it's like, Helen, you always do this. You always do
self-belief, self-belief. And so now your income is bypassing those one-on-ones. Is that correct?
Correct, 100%. So, you know, I have a dream of earning a lot of money so that I'm more comfortable and I don't have to worry about anything. And
I'd love to know in the comments who has that dream of earning more money where you don't have to worry about anything and you can just relax. I mean, say yes in the comments if that's you, because when I sit down and do strategy, anybody, including yourself, there's one question I ask is, what's your 2-year dream? What's your 2-year projection that you want to give yourself? And a lot of people struggle with the question, but at the end of the day, every single person that we go through, it's like, listen, they want to be, nobody's asking for $1 billion. They're not. They're asking for basically financial freedom, less stress, less hours working, more time with the family, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And it literally does come down to that. And and I love that honesty there. And I've got a few comments from Greg and Tracy and everything's yes. I've got 2 screens. Omid, Greg, yeah, hell yeah, like that's what it's about. And how, like, mentally on that position, because we're all being tuned in to say, you got to work longer, you can make more money. But you trusted the process. You trusted the process, and you've been consistent at this process. And it's interesting because a lot of people come into our program and they get the concept in 3-4 months, but you're up to like the maybe 8-month kind of mark now. And it's only now that you're starting to see, and I love this part of the journey, the 6, 7, 8 month mark, because this is where people most will go, yeah, it's good, I get it. But you don't really get it until the numbers start to turn, the financials start to turn. Pam, good to have you joining us. The financials start to turn. So tell me about that feeling when you feel like you want to give up and then you smell something that you should keep going.
I am a firm believer of having a coach, which is why I try to be the best coach for my clients. So I know that you guys have my best interests at heart. So I'm not going anywhere ever. So you're stuck with me now, Richard. But what was the question?
I think the question was how do you feel when you're how do you feel like when it's hard those days that you're working 60 hours and then you're going to switch and you got your dreams in place, but now you're starting to reap the benefits where, the early days when you're going through that and asking clients to change, and you're not seeing that. And only today, you know, you got the phone today with me and you said, listen, Richard, I'm like $300 off my target. And it was like, wow, that was $300 off your original target. And I'm thinking, that's huge. That was the biggest that you thought about before, and you're $300 away from it.
I know.
But before you weren't. And how do you feel when you're in that slump?
Oh, you feel terrible. But I've had so much, I was bankrupt twice in my life. So I understand what it's like to build up and to fight. So that's why now I'm not ashamed to say that I want money, because I know how hard it is to get it. And I appreciate the value of it. And I always make sure that I give my clients value. I don't lie about anything. So that doesn't worry me at all, saying that I do want money. But when I came back from overseas, this is quiet time in PT land, because mums are going back to school, taking their kids back to school. The whole routine is just coming back from New Year's and Christmas, and people have spent a lot of money and they're going to say, I don't have money. And it always usually picks up after Easter. But I don't want money at Easter. I want money now. So I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to work this? So I started working, Richard. I believe that in your down phases and your quiet times, that's the moment where, as you guys say, you've got to do the push-ups, you've got to do the work, you've got to create content, you've got to create something exciting that people want to be a part of. So I sat there and I did that. I did some Facebook Lives. I did some blogging. I started email marketing. I created my programs up until Easter. So I started with an 8-week 2019 startup program, which 20 people are doing at the moment. And then I've got an Easter Fat Smash program.
Fat Smash, love it.
Fat Smash. So because Easter people eat a lot of chocolate, I thought let's smash that fat while, Easter's happening. And then I also added a little bonus challenge into the Fat Smash, which is a cleanse that I like to do with my clients twice a year. So I put all of that out at once, and then people got excited. So,
wow. I love that concept, because you actually plan not just for Easter, and you're planning the progression of how it's going to happen and how it's going to roll. And when you can excite somebody of what's to come, that kind of like transform people, and they become part of your tribe that way.
Yep. And I am now lucky because I've been doing this for maybe a year consistently with you guys. We started everything together. But now I finally have testimonial photos.
Oh, great.
Because, I've had time to transform a client. So when you don't have those photos, it sucks, because people don't know whether you can produce results or not. So now that I can do that, I have a few photos of, I've got quite a few actually. So I do that with my clients. People find you a little bit more credible. So those of you that are also working in a gym and like you have other PTs, another PT in my gym has just started the same concept, the exact same format. And, some people get angry at that, but I was saying to Richard, I'm not angry, because I've got more experience. I've got my credibility there. I trust that my clients have trust in me. So I just wish him all the best, and I actually help him to build his business.
And I think that's interesting because, there's so much competition around us, and it's going to happen everywhere in every industry. But I think what I'm hearing from you and your personality is that you can't, I meet a lot of trainers all the time, a lot of business owners, a lot of professionals, but honestly, the people that we have in our programs, including yourself, the people that I come across, everybody has a uniqueness. Everybody has one thing that it's very, 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 very hard to duplicate this, I call it the Michael Jordan move. This Michael Jordan move, it's very, very hard to duplicate because you can't do it. And so if you continue to stay in your lane, you continue to focus on what you want to do, you're going to get some great results. But what happens when you don't? And can you tell me, when you don't believe in yourself, what generally happens then to your mind, Helen?
Oh my God.
It sounds like you've been there, you've been through many different journeys.
Yeah. So, when you're in those down moments and you're constantly in a negative state every day, whether that's being angry, whether that's being sad or feeling alone or feeling depressed or feeling like, no one understands you, no one understands your vision, You feel like no one believes in you. You know, the only thing you got to do is I read a lot of books and I did a lot of research online. I went to a few seminars. I scummed money off people to go to some seminars, and you just got to stand back up and you just got to fight for yourself. You've got to believe in your mission. You've got to believe in yourself. And even if someone doesn't believe in you or you have no one that believes in you, you've still got to understand that, like, you got a heartbeat, you know, you've got a reason to live, and you've got a reason to fulfill your purpose. And even if you feel that you don't know what your purpose is, you've got to trust that your journey right now is going to take you and show you what your purpose is. Because I knew that I wanted to do something. I never knew what. And I had a mentor, because I went and worked at a chiropractic clinic to understand more about the human body, so that when I start training clients, I can understand what bone is what muscle is what ligament is attached to what, so that I can understand if they're like, oh, this is hurting, I could be like, oh, okay, I know what to do. But he said to me, Helen, you've got all these skills. All you need to do now is hone them in together. And I was like, what does a DJ have to do with massage? You know, what does car sales have to do with PT? And then I realized, everything in my journey had to happen so that I could be where I am. I needed to be an MC so I could be confident in group classes. I needed to do car sales so I know how to sell my services. You know, I needed to work with the chiropractic clinic so that I can be a better masseuse. I needed to do acting so that I could be confident and learn how to be genuine. Everything just came together.
Wow, I love that, and that's such a great way to look at it. You know, it doesn't matter where you are, you're always going to end at the right point. If you continue to believe in you, not somebody else, then you're always going to end up the right point. And I don't think I couldn't even said it better than yourself. So if there's any more questions, you guys, if you've got any questions for Helen, let me know. But I do appreciate this journey, and I love interviewing people like yourself and anybody, because you know what? Sometimes, you know, we were always working so hard on ourselves, on what we do, and sometimes it's nice to, I believe sometimes when you can share what you do, you know, even on a live that we're doing here for 30 minutes, you kind of like in your brain goes, okay, wow, this is all I've achieved at this point, you know what I mean? What's next? And I kind of want to add to that if anybody's watching this live, it's really important for you to actually put yourself on camera, to do a video, to do a blog, do a Facebook Live. If you don't want to do that, write a blog or journal from the end of the day, because what happens when you realize, you know, at the moment, and you've got so many different barriers, this is what's going to make you unique, and this is what nobody can outbeat you on. But when you put something up, it's kind of like a photo album. You go back and you kind of remember the good times, and aren't the good times always the past times? You know what I mean? And so you're going to remember that every time's going to be a good time, but when you're generally in it, sometimes it's not a good time. But when you look back, even if it's a minute ago, it's a good time. So I just urge everybody, if you've never kind of like sat down and really said, hey, how did I get to doing what I do? And why am I a PT? Why am I a Group X instructor? Why am I a business owner? There's a reason. And if you figure out the reason, just like Helen, you figured out the reason, it makes the future much more easier to progress down, because you know that this is the right path. So
yep, and that's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling. So yeah, thank you, Helen, for coming on our Crush Wednesday. Tracy says, love hearing your journey, Helen. Well done.
I love you,
Everybody's
Tracy.
got an amazing journey. Tracy's another great ninja. I think I'm going to get Tracy on here next. And
Tracy's killing it.
She's killing it. And it's great to see everybody killing it, because when they believe in themselves, you're really understanding that next progression, that next step. So thank you, Helen. And thank you for being the guest on this first series. We had a bit of a stuff up this morning. If anybody watched that, that's okay. No, we tried. We just stuffed up bad. And like Helen was upside down. I was back to front. I don't know what was going on, but you know what? We've got a good system now. We're using Zoom, and it's funny because we're using Zoom. Zoom's awesome, and so we're just live casting this over Facebook as well. So for those, Pam says, thank you for sharing the journey. So for those who are always watching 929 Crush, remember you can join our Crush Your Fitness Marketing Facebook group. You just got to go search for that. And, he's going to ask you 2 questions and just say, listen, Richard said I can join, and just write that. And we're going to share more of this. And until next time, Helen, is there anything else that you want to say? Your amazing journey. I mean, listen, it's probably a bad question to ask right now because I've heard the Hollywood stories. I've heard the DJ stories. And you know what? I need to go out with you for dinner sometime or a night, because the stories that you'd have would just...
I've got stories for days, Richard. Maybe
I mean, if you're going to run into Helen, make sure that you spend some time with Helen, because she can tell you some stories that are just amazing. And I think that's one thing that the journey of life, it's great when you have stories. I think stories help you to share and attract the people that you need into your proximity.
You know, I had a friend who would criticize me and say, when I worked at the Cairo recently, she was like, another new job? Helen, you need to just stick to one career. You know, you're always doing something else. And then I thought, why is she so angry about what I do with my life? So then I realized, you know, sometimes you have to weed out all the toxic people in your life that are trying to destroy your dreams, or they get, you know, a little bit jealous, or, you know, they don't know, like, they couldn't be you at the end of the day. Only you can be you. So if someone is trying to, you know, sabotage that, just have the balls to let them go.
Awesome. Well, on that thought, let them go. I'm going to let everybody go now and get back to hustling, get back to calling out your clients, get back to smashing on a Wednesday, crushing Wednesday. Do what you need to do to make your dreams a reality. Thank you so much, Helen, for being a ninja, for being an amazing client, and for being an amazing human being. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time on Crush Wednesday.